Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Recording started.
Salam. Hello, young ladies. Hello. Can you all hear me? Hello, Lina, Afnan. 1 minute. Hello. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Afnan, Lina, Naima, Nora. Nora, yes. Can you hear me? Naima? Hi. Alaikum salam. How are you doing? Sorry for being late. I was trying to connect. It wasn't connecting in the beginning. Okay, right. Okay. Hello. Hi, Naima. Naima. And Afnan, everybody. Okay. Shall we start now? We'll open chapter 9 today. Inshallah. Alright, do you have the books with you? And it's language and context this time. Language and context. Right? Okay. Shall I start talking about it now? I'm fine, thank you, Afnan. How are you doing? Are you okay? You're all okay? Right. Fine. Yes. If you all open on page 165, we'll start from there. Right. Okay. Great. Great. Now we'll be talking about one topic today, which is language in relation to context. And in particular, we'll be talking about the simplified form of the language. Simplified. Another word for simplified. A simplified form of language or simplified variety. What else do we call it? Simplified for lingua. Okay. Franca. That is the other word for it. Remember the lingua franca? It's that language for communication that is simplified. We're talking about different examples today. We will specify more other examples about. The sound is not very clear. Oh dear. Okay. Is it better now? Is the sound better now? Hello? Hi. Is it better now? Is it better now? Okay, that's good. Alhamdulillah. That's excellent. Shall I continue? Okay. Now concerning lingua franca or the simplification of language. I mean, for simplifying language, we find that English, for example, can be simplified and not using the standard form, like not fully inflected grammar, not fully inflected words, like when you say he asked, you don't say ask as such, the simplified form, they just say something like he asked or whatever. Okay, so here the lingua with English is used, for example, as a lingua franca in Europe. This is like, for example, the Dutch person or a Swedish person, Dutch and they read it. Oh dear, I don't know, what shall I say? Okay, is it getting better now? Give me how much out of 10 can you hear me? Like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, how bad, how good? So that I continue. Afnan, Noura. Noura says my voice is not very good. So how much out of 10 can you give me with my voice? 6, 7? Like if I say 70%, is it good like 70% or 80%? Like this, 70 or 80%? I don't know what's going on. Or maybe 100% good? 80%, yes, ma'am? Now, as well? Not better? I put the microphone inside my mouth now. No, it can't go deeper than this. Okay, now let's go back to. Yeah, I know it's. I'm in my conference now, as I told you. So I'm trying to give you the class. Okay, very good. Right. So here the lingua franca is normally a kind of simplified form variety of language which undergoes a certain amount of simplification, a certain form. A lot of noise here. Wallahi, I don't know how to help you. I know it's a lot of noise, but I'll try my best. And so this chapter anyway is not that difficult to follow up by yourself because we have been discussing the lingua franca before, and we'll have some examples of the lingua franca, which is if you only try to go over the examples in the book, because it gives you examples of simplified forms. As long as you understand what is a simplification of the variety of language used, then you can accept or understand other types, the different types of simplifications that are found in the different countries in the world. Like you can have lingua franca as having English as its base, or having French as its base. فإحنا will have examples of having English as the base. I gave you an example of the lingua franca of which we call it pigeon. You know the pigeon form, the pigeon variety, and that pigeon variety of Arabic, remember? I told you that this is the pigeon form of Arabic that is used by our drivers and our maids and all the workers in our country, from the Philippines, from India, yes. So it's reduced. There is a reduction usually on the various, various linguistic features on the base language, right? So here we have reduction, which refers to the fact that as a result of this reduction in social function, lingua franca speakers may use the language for doing business or for communicating. Or so here we have vocabulary, that undergoes reduction, or maybe grammar, like structure, or maybe style itself. And sometimes there is a mixed kind of mixed reduction. That mixed reduction would be involving the base language, like for example, if it was English and the other language, an African language if it is in Africa or wherever. You get the point here. Let's go on the following pages. Page 166. We find reduction and also interference. We have the interference of linguistic features, and this is called also the process itself, pigeonization. Can you see that? Pigeonization. I want you to confirm what you're hearing. Afnan, Lina, Nema, Nora. Please. Are you now with me? Shall I continue? Pigeonization now? Yeah? Thank you very much. Nora, how is my voice now? Because sometimes people would come and it's noisy, but now I think it's better. Is it better now? Okay. So here the example, thank you. The example is given from countries like people speaking Dutch and Swedish speakers. So here pidginization can take place to have a kind of lingua franca for them to understand the language of communication they are using. For example, another example is in East Africa. And in East Africa there is that language which is called Swahili. We all know Swahili. Swahili. So Swahili is it's a coastal language. So compared to the coastal Swahili is the lingua franca. The inland, there is the coastal lingua franca and the inland lingua franca, which demonstrates some features of simplification on the coast, because the inland would have a different form of Swahili. It depends on how simplified and how mixing Swahili is exposed to. Okay, on page 167. Now there is this kind as well of pidgin A as well, pidgin language. A pidgin language, and that is in particular, which is the lingua franca, a pidgin language which undergoes, which has no native speakers. Okay? So it is that lingua franca. Okay? It's a lingua franca which has no native speakers. Suppose that this lingua franca has native speakers, what would we call it? Do you know? Do you know what we call it when it has native speakers? We call it Creole. يا أفنان فاتن ولينا نعمة نورة. Are you following with me? So here, okay, very well done. طيب, another question. What is the pre-pidgin? Another term to learn related to pidgin language. So normally, in the first stage of the development of the lingua franca, okay, we can refer to it as a pre-pidgin. So it is when the pidgin is in its very first stage of development. Okay, so that's what is called pre-pidgin. Right. So here, the most likely setting for pidgin is that it starts to be developed, and when it is developed, it goes. Yes, it means simple or lingua franca. It's simple language or simplification. Simplification. It's not any kind of simple. Simple might be simplified, but simplification means the simplification goes inside the structure. So when the language is simplified, a simplification is applied on it, and it goes into the stage of pidginization. Then the most likely setting for crystallization of the true pidgin language is probably a contact situation, especially in contact situation. especially. It's not a simplified style that you use and that's it. It exists in a complex situation, like in our Arabic situation, where our workers keep on contacting everything. So here, pigeonization and pigeon is very important to keep in mind. Okay, so the process of simplification: key, place, page, number. It's a very easy chapter, by the way, because it makes you apply what we have been discussing before. You can see examples. See page number 168. There are genuine languages with a structure, and most of the attributes of other languages, they are difficult to learn. So because people find it sometimes difficult to learn, to learn the language, the structure, the sophisticated structure of the language, they start simplifying it. Can you see the example on page 168? And there are 3 lines given. I will read just the first line probably. We'll try to understand it. And it is a simplified, the following example is from British Solomon Island pigeon. British Solomon, like that. Island. Island pigeon. Okay. You can't hear anything, Nora? That's really a tragedy, Nora. Oh dear. You all can hear me? Yes? Or no? Yes, hi, Khulud. Can you all hear my voice? Yes, Nora, yes, I hear you, yes. Now there is voice, because sometimes when it is really noisy, I switch off the microphone, but when the microphone goes off, I switch on my microphone, معلش, and I'm inside a conference, so it's getting very crowded sometimes. Look at the example. I will read you the first line, please be with me, all of you. This is a simplified kind of pigeonized English that is used in the island of Solomon, British Solomon Islands, and it's called Neo-Solomonic bilingual. That's how linguists call it. It says instead of, what it means, we keep going on the sea. It means Nefeli, ego, go long, soul water. Okay? So this is one example. Just go on and read, please, the rest of these pages so that you understand more what would simplification sound like. I told you how it looks like and what it means. For example, the word kai in the Neo-Solomonic language for food, kai like that. Kai means in that island food. You don't need to memorize them, by the way. So the Kai, that language has grammatical rules. That language of Neo-Solomonic, alright, Solomonic, because the island is called Solomon, British Solomon Island. So the linguists call the pigeon that is used there Neo-Solomonic. So here, for example, the word Kai, which in the Neo-Solomonic means food or eat, eat. What about it? It means Kai, okay? Kai. And the requirement that transitive verbs be distinguished from transitive by the suffix in that language. That's how, in Arabic what you will call it الفعل اللازم والفعل المتعدي that requires an object. اللازم اللي هو the object, the verb that doesn't require an object. So here in that language, they distinguish the requirement of transitive verbs by having the in, as in, at the end of the word. So the word which is low kautin, like that, low kautin, you see the in at the end, which means to go. Okay, so you have the in at the end. The in at the end means that this verb is not an intransitive, it's a transitive verb. So the Neo-Solomonic language variety of the pigeon, yes, from English, of course, and the in required shows that the verb requires an object. Another good social reason for doing this is that many people have objected to pigeons. They don't want pigeons, but sometimes, it's not the decision of people if they like or they don't like. It's the situation, because they have corrupted the purity of English. Remember, some people in our language, in Arabic, sometimes we use other words in our language, and some people in Arabic are very, very angry, saying that we corrupted Arabic and Arabic language is about to be lost and so on and so forth. But never mind. Let's go to page number 170 now. Can you all go to that page, please? That page is talking about Creole, or different Creoles. Different Creoles is when the Creole languages are pigeons. So Creoles are where originally pigeons, but are acquired by children acquired by children, then they become Creole. Okay, so that have been acquired until these children became the native speakers. Okay, let's put it in another way. Okay, so what's the difference between pigeon and Creole? Pigeon, okay, let me tell you something. The difference between pigeon and Creole, another way of saying the difference is that Creole have native speakers, but pigeons do not have native speakers, okay? You understand now? And ladies, hello, Nan, Afrah, Khulud, Fatin, Tina, all of you, are you with me? Munira, Noura, are you all with me? Young ladies, hello. Oh my God. Yes, please. Just try to interact with me and ask me questions or say okay or tell me when I ask you something, etc. So there are Creoles, okay, like pigeons, with different European languages, European languages based. يعني, uh, there are different types of pigeons, okay, and Creole, different types, and sometimes, thank you, Banat. Okay, the different types of Creole or pigeon can depend on what language have they developed accordingly. So some of them would have, for example, European-based languages like French Creole, English Creole, German Creole, Caribbean, Caribbean, Haitian, French Creole, etc. So language has a very vast majority of population. There is, for example, in terms of the language that is found on a certain country, like French Guiana in Africa and the United States, where a French Creole is spoken by African Americans in part of that part of America, Louisiana. French Creoles are also spoken in the Indian Ocean. Let's see an example. See page 171. Okay, for example, the example there shows us the Haitian Creole, which indicates that the extent of the relationship between this Creole and French. I mean, if you know French, we will read just a few words on the top. Don't worry about if you don't understand it. So it's a Papa no, Kina, Yel, Kino, O, Juan, or whatever. So it's repeat. So here we have, it's a mixed kind of French and their original African language. Most of the better known English Creoles are spoken in different parts of the Americans, like the French Creole. We have the English Creole as well. Have a look at the second example. Second example on page, example 2 on the same page, on page 171, right? That one is more like, what do we call it? An English Creole spoken by several tens of thousands of native speakers in coastal areas. And that says, the first line says, all the important men were on the balcony. It says, Ala bin, biggie man, biggie man, yani important man. Biggie is taken from big, but it doesn't mean big. So sometimes the meaning changes a little bit. Biggie man, I email. No balcon is balcony. A waqti, L, which means waiting for him. Waqti, L. Do you see now how it sounds? Ala bin biggie man, Dina balcon, it waqti, L. You see how it go on? Read the rest. Example. Let me stop now the sound because it's getting really noisy. Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear what I'm saying? Go on page Please go on page 100. Page Hello, do you hear me now? Go on page 172, the example about the history of something like English, then West African, then Joka, and then Pigeon Joka. That's how it is developed. See please with me. See how Pigeon developed. So it doesn't really jump on pigeonization or pigeon something, like pigeon Arabic or pigeon Swahili or pigeon whatever. It goes on few stages. First pigeonization, and becomes creolization for something, and then pigeonization again. So that example is on Nigeria. There is in West Africa. Okay, so in Nigeria, it's the pigeonized English. Pigeonized English became Creole. Can you tell me why? So that I feel that you are with me. Why do you think it became Creole? That pigeonized English in West Nigeria. It became creolized. Why? Why it became creolized? Why did it become creolized? Can you tell me? Afrah, Luna, Munira, Ni'ma, Nora, come on, Afnan. Why does it become creolized? I mean, we just talked about it. Nigerian pigeon. The result of this is that Nigerian pigeon, even if it is creolized form, why does it become creolized? Hello, can you hear me? Young lady, hello? Hello? Are you there? The girl? Oh, alhamdulillah, where have you been? Where have you been? Can you answer my question? Why do you think the Nigerian pigeon became creolized? It's a very simple question from the viewpoint as a linguist. Yes, Afnan, Afrah, Munira, because, well, that's excellent. Yes, Nura, because they were acquired. Yes, Nana, I wanted you to answer my question. And Nura was answering correctly. Why did the pigeon Nigerian why did it become creolized? Because it was learned by native speakers, or It has native speakers now. It was Pidgin because it didn't have native speakers, but because they started to teach it to their kids, it started having their own native speakers. This is important to remember, right? There is another place on mentioned on pages 172 and 173. Pages, I want you all to open on these 170. Hello, can you all hear me? Pages 172 and 173, please. In Sierra Leone, you know Sierra Leone, Sierra, like that, Sierra, and then Leone, and that is the situation in Africa. Sierra Leone is similar example as the Nigerian one, probably somewhat artificially to distinguish between 4 different linguistic varieties. 4 different, this is very important, different linguistic varieties. What are they? Can you see that on top of page 173? It's occupied, my husband is here, yeah, it's okay, no problem. So here we have number 1 British English, and then number 2 Sierra Leone English, and number 3 there is this African Pidgin English, and finally the Cryo. Cryo is an English Creole. Cryo, that's how you write it. Cryo. Cryo is an English Creole, okay, with about 30,000 speakers. Yes, hello, hello. Do you see the book with me? Okay, thank you, Nirma. Thank you, Afnan, very much. So do you see the examples of those kinds of different connections with English Creole? So the Creole is an English Creole with about 30,000 native speakers. That's why I mean it's very important to keep in mind that they are situations that can be kind of heard. You can hear them. You can see those people existing in the world, and they speak this language as their first language, you know, their mother tongue. They don't know any other language other than this as their mother tongue. So the language developed from the English Creole spoken by slaves who returned from Jamaica, North America, and Britain, and is not directly connected with West African Pidgin. And the following 4 versions of the same sentence illustrate some of the similarities and differences. Can you see this is, for example, British English would sound like, I'm going to work. This is British English, I'm going to work. The Sierra Leone English is, I'm going to work, without the ga at the end, and I'm going. And the third one, the third variety is West African Pidgin, which is Adi go work. And then the Clipo is Adi go work, walk, instead of work, walk. They sound somehow English, maybe 50% or 70% English. But the rest are kind of Creolized and Pidginized. Another example is like the Jamaican Creole. There is the Jamaican English and the Jamaican Creole. And this is, it has got some linguists writing about a language spoken in Jamaica, refer to it as Jamaican English, while others referring to give it the status of separate language called Jamaican Creole, not English, but it has some English base as well. Look at page 100. I mean, read about the Danish and the Swedish and how the Scots and all that, and how Creole English can be developed in different parts of the world, like the African English and Jamaican English, and the Creole that is being learned, by native speakers in different parts of the world. So here the main problem, though, would be one of people's social attitudes about the appropriateness of certain linguistic varieties to certain social contexts. So to read the BBC News in a broad London, Birmingham or Glasgow accent would provoke laughter. I mean, why? Because people are not used to hear, in formal situations, any other variety other than standard English. The same kind of reaction could be expected with the introduction of Jamaican Creole, and so on. So English would have, for example, sounded ridiculous in a low court in the Middle Ages. So it really depends on what you are used to, so that you accept what is going on. See page 177, please, and it's talking about features of Creole languages. Features of Creole languages. We have Jamaican Creole. Instead of for saying what's going to happen now, they would say what the go happen now. Okay. Ranan Creole would be I'm coming. They would say me become. Okay. Another Creole, which is Gola, for saying they were eating fodder, they would say the yam fora. And the Creole language, Creole, instead of I'm going to work, they say Adi go work. Okay, not even work, but work. Okay. Now the similarities to note here between these Creoles are the similarities. The similarities on pages 177 and 178. Okay. Now the first similarity is all those Creoles are able to make continuous aspects, the continuous aspect, the ing, like I am working, am and ing, this is continuous aspect, without making sense, without actually inflecting this. That's the meaning. They all don't inflect. The second similarity on page 178. All the Creoles here show continuous aspects, not by inflection of the verb ing, ie, as in English, but by a particle, which is da. Da, I would do, like that. Like this. Or like this. This means ing, but without the actual ing or da. Unlike English, which is like that, is like ing. Okay? It's unlike English, sorry. Plus ing. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, another data on page 178 We have also the actual form of this particle is almost identical in each case, like there, he, and there. Okay. 1 minute, I will close the microphone. Are you there? Are you still there, guys? Hello? Hi. Thank you, Nama. Thank you. Okay, follow with me. أفراح, what do you want to say? Thank you. Thank you, أفراح. طيب, شوفوا معايا. إحنا كل هذا data. You can all see the data. Okay, let me tell you something as well. For more about knowing how do they work, I mean, for the pronouns here, we have the pronoun as a particle and a verb in this. So how can we explain the similarities both of structural and of form between these languages, the Creole languages, particularly in view of the great distance separating them? One explanation, can you see one explanation on page? Hello, can you hear me? One explanation of the similarities between Creoles is that on page 178. I'm reading from there. Please try to follow with me, the last paragraph. One explanation is that has been put forward stresses the similarity of those situations which led to the growth of pigeons, okay? And these languages were generally the joint creation of sailors. You know, sailors and businessmen and traders and indigenous, i.e. people of the country, the original people of the country, indigenous people or people in trading or other similar contexts. So these indigenous people get in contact with those traders and businessmen. So it is also true that pigeons grow up in circumstances which are transmitting the information, and it's very difficult to use one language only. They mix the languages together and they make a simple language for them to communicate. That language is for business. That's why they call it pigeon. Instead of saying business, they say pigeon. On page number 179, it gives you the second reason. Second explanation goes under the name of the relaxification theory. Relaxification theory, okay? That relaxification theory, a theory where, briefly speaking, claims that the first widespread European-based pigeon was Portuguese pigeon, which probably grew up sometime during the 15th century along the West African coast, and then the Portuguese spread it to their other trading spots. That's why there is this kind of similarity. So if you have this question of similarity, you say the way it is spread, it goes under either this or that. That is the first reason on page 178, or the second reason of the theory of relaxification. Okay, so here we have the evidence in favor of this theory are as follows. We have number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. There are 4 points to support this relaxification theory. The first one is some Portuguese words still remain in many of the Portuguese pidginized and creolized languages. The second one is large number of words found in Creole languages can be traced back to West African languages. The third reason is that there are a number of grammatical similarities. And the fourth reason to support that theory, is that the actual natural nature of the grammatical similarities, although they may be partially or partly due to universal principles of simplification, suggest links with West African languages. So these four reasons are on page, you find them on page 179. I'll now go to page 180. We still have few more pages to finish the chapter, inshallah. Inshallah, we finished on that. Okay, now we have Louisiana French Creole, and that Louisiana French Creole has the base French as well as some of the native language used in Louisiana. And it is provided by Saramacca. Saramacca is that kind of related piece of evidence for the lexification theory. So it appears that this Creole may have been arrested by the flight into the jungle of the slaves. Right. Right. I go back to the microphone because there was an announcement on the on the hall I'm in. Okay, as we go in chapter 3 concerning the American African vernacular English, descended from the original Creole that has become progressive Creolized as a result of centuries of contact with English, so that it is now clearly a variety of English itself. Okay, this is American African vernacular of English. It's a late or post-Creole language. So here the creolization attacks the simplification, and it became a mixture of Creole. Okay, so here we can have other theories to exemplify this civilization, and it is complication of this kind of explanation. And this explanation is a mixture of purification and complication of, thank you, Nama. So this is explained in more details on pages 180, and an example of that on 181. You have on 81, the process is the source, then the pigeonization takes place, the focusing is pigeon, and then the creolization is Creole, and then the partial is post-Creole, complication, purification, and then we have further explanation, which is complication and purification as well, and then decreolization, which is post-Creole. Of course, it's the process of complication and purification will eventually be total, then the post-Creole, like American African vernacular English, would end up having no Creole features at all. Hello, on pages 182 and 183, there is that kind of Neo-Solomonic and English-based pigeon which we were talking about, as well as the South African language. The African language, you know, that is now used in African, like that, you know, with a K, African, or Afrikaans, that is used in South Africa, is a mixture of Dutch-based Creolite. So it's a French-based Creole, Jamaican and Dutch-based Creolite. Hello, on page 183, there is also at least one situation that has occurred, however. In Pitcairnese, the language of the remote Pacific Ocean island, Pitcairn, that's how you actually pronounce it or write it, Caines, and then an E. This is Pitcairnese, and this language is occurs in the Pacific Ocean Islands, and it is a dual source Creole. It has got two native languages of the small community there, and you find it in spread by British sailors and famous communities on the Bounty and Tahiti, or Tahitian men and women who went with them to hide there on that island from the British Royal Navy. And that's how that kind of language developed. Let me read for you the first line of the example given on page 183. The English, standard English would be, there was a stick for pushing those hot stones. Black language says, what a pure ticket for pushing hot stones. Okay, finally the Norfolk Island has got, in the West Pacific as well, has got some Creole language or Post-Creole language. And that Post-Creole language has got all these examples on end of page 183 and 183 and 184, and that is the end of this chapter. Please read that chapter. And I have to stop here, معلش. It's maybe 15 minutes earlier than our class, but I must stop because it's getting really crowded here and noisy. And I'd like to ask you, is there a question that you need to ask before I leave? Young ladies, Afnan, Afrah, Fatin, Fatma, Lina, and Munira, Naama, Noura. Do you have to ask any question? Yes, Fatin, what is your question, please? You don't have a question. Okay, that's good. The chapter is very simple because you have some examples. I was reading one by one for you so that we can all follow together, follow up, so that when you read it, you know what to see and what to expect. Go read it and find, yeah. Ask, good, that's good, Nama. Go and read this chapter And if you have any question next time, please prepare your questions and we can go and answer them. Otherwise, we will go directly to chapter number 10 and finish off the book. Yes, I know, Nana. Of course, if you read it, you will get it now for the first time. Of course, you might have some difficulties and so on. But when you read it and you get stuck at one point or two, just have some mark on that and we can go back to the point and ask and discuss it together. Okay? Okay, now. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you all and goodbye. Like what we say always, Fi Aman Allah. See you after tomorrow. Bye. Can you sign out, all of you, so that I can switch off the recording and the recording is stored for you, okay? Yalla, thank you. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.